بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Assalamu alaikum. Today it is Wednesday, 20th of July 2022, and in our series Reflections on the Holy Quran, this is broadcast number 339, and we are discussing um, the words of chapter 2, verse 102 of the Holy Quran. And this is our broadcast number 20 in discussing the words of verse 102 of the Holy Quran, of Al-Baqarah. Just to remind you that these broadcasts are brought to you courtesy of Laser Lahore Ahmadiyya School of Education in Religion, which is a department, a branch of Ahmadiyya Anjuman Ishat Islam of Lahore, or Ahmadiyya Anjuman for Propagation of Islam, based in Lahore, also known as the Lahore Ahmadiyya movement. The Ahmadiyya movement was founded by Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib, Rahmatullah Alayh, and his teaching was that although other people say that after the Holy Prophet Muhammad, a prophet can come, this cannot be correct, because the Holy Quran says that the Holy Prophet Muhammad was the Khatamun Nabiyyin. And the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained the meaning of this expression by saying, La Nabiyya Badi, no prophet after me. So now no prophet can come. Whether an old one or a new one, no one can come. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad's claim was that he was the mujaddid of his age, in accordance with the hadith of the Holy Prophet. And in accordance with which hadith, Mujaddideen had appeared in Islam for 1300 years. But he said his distinction was that the Messiah spoken of in the hadith and the Mahdi spoken of in the hadith, it was one and the same person, and these were titles given to a mujaddid who was going to be entrusted with certain tasks, and it was him. And of course, this was a revolutionary thought which led to disagreements, and Muslims declared Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad and his organization, Ahmadis, to be kafirs, to be heretics. At which Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib pointed out that the sayings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, the hadiths, forbids such utterances. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that if one reciter of the kalima declares another reciter of the kalima to be a heretic, then this verdict of heresy falls upon the person uttering these words. And that is why Hazrat Sahib said that people, reciter of the kalima, must not say to each other that you are kafirs and you are kafirs. And so everyone has a right to come to their own conclusion. And at the end of the day, it is God who will decide who is a Muslim and who is not a Muslim. Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad also taught that Muslims generally believe that some prophetic revelation, Wahi and Nabuwwat, has been missed from the Holy Quran. And some that is in the Holy Quran has been cancelled, abrogated, its commands repealed. And he said this cannot be true because God says that I reveal the Holy Quran and I will protect it. So how can it be that divine revelation, prophetic revelation, is not included in the Holy Quran and God remains quiet? How can it be that commands of some of the verses are abrogated and no one says anything? God doesn't say anything. Hazrat Abu Bakr and Umar and Ali and Usman and so on and Raziallah Ta'ala anhum, none of them says anything. The Holy Quran, the whole of the Holy Quran was recited during the month of fasting, during Ramadan. Why didn't anyone point this out? That these verses are missing. Or ask why we're reciting these verses when the command, their order has been rescinded and cancelled. And of course, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad stressed that jihad is a basic and fundamental duty of every single Muslim. But he said, this does not mean that you take the gun and you go out and you ask your neighbor to pronounce the Shahada, and if he doesn't, you shoot him in the head. It doesn't mean that. We have to look towards the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to see the significance, the meaning, the explanation of jihad. And the Holy Prophet, when returning from fighting, said, Muslims are returning from the minor jihad towards the major jihad, and then went on to explain that the major jihad is jihad bin nafs, jihad against your own soul, jihad against your inner self, jihad against your own desires of vanity and pride and arrogance and dishonesty and lying and one-upmanship and a thousand others that you know well. So that is the fundamental and the first jihad which every Muslim, wherever he may be, must conduct. And that is to reform his inner self, to kill his own desires So let us go to the Holy Quran. And as I always explain that because this verse is quite long, I only recite um, that part of the verse which has the words that we are going to talk about. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد علموا لمن اشتراه ما له في الآخرة من خلاق. And certainly they know that he who buys it has no share of good in the hereafter. So the words we are going to look at today are Walaqad, Alimu, and Lamani. So let me find my notes on the internet. So the first one is Walaqad. Well, it's actually a term rather than a word because it's made of three parts. Wa, meaning and, that connects it to the statement that was made before it. And it connects it to what's going to come afterwards. And the other two parts are laka and the. And laqad, both of these together, they emphasize what is going to come. Definitely, this is going to happen. So in English, it's translated as and certainly, so that there's no doubt it's certain, and indeed, etc. And the next word is olimu, and its root is ain, lam, mim, and that root is used to make 14 different words, and in total the words which use this root are 854 in the Holy Quran, and 382 times we have alima, and 160 times, 163 times alim, and 105 times alim, and 73 times, now let me get this right, I got it wrong in the Urdu one, alameen. Sometimes I'm reading the English, Arabic written in English, which makes it difficult. And 49 times alam, and 41 times allama, and 18 times alim, and 11 times as ma'ulum. And most of these words are known in Urdu. For example, the adjective ma'lumat, or mu'allim, ma'lum, alim, ilm, etc. They're all these words are used in Urdu. So now the tricky part, which is that I generally mess up which I haven't quite done. Just that I flipped over too many pages. Here we are. So we have Ain Lam Mi. Al Ilmu. The knowledge. This is knowing, understanding, gaining all the facts, all the knowledge, all the ilm about something or nature of something. And generally, dictionaries will say, well, you can do it two ways. One, that, if you know the name of the thing. And secondly, by knowing the adjectives, the attributes of something. Now, I disagree with that because you cannot, in my view, get complete information about something just by its name. And in the Urdu example, I used the example of a car, Toyota Yaris. Okay. That takes us to a group of cars. Now, Toyota Yarises are of three kinds: those that run on petrol, those that are electric, and those that run, those which are hybrid and run on both petrol and battery. So, just saying Toyota Yaris doesn't tell you everything about the car. So you say, okay, Toyota Yaris hybrid. Fair enough, you've gone one step further. But then what about the fact that some of these Toyota Yaris hybrids have air conditioning and some don't? Some have air conditioning but not a sat nav. Some have sat nav but not air conditioning. Some have both. Some have neither. So you'll need to give more information about what kind of car it is that you're talking about. I mean, I've used a car as an example. It applies to everything. It applies to everything. You say to someone, you remember Shahid Aziz? No, it might be Shahid Aziz who was born in the UK. And you say, oh, the one who was born here. And you'd say, oh, no. Not the one who was born in UK, but the one who was born overseas. But overseas where? Could have been born in Turkey or some Arab country or Iran or Pakistan or India. Where? So you need a lot of information. And that information you gain by asking questions. And here we come to a sort of sad situation Because in Islamic schools, in Muslim majority countries, if there's one thing that is forbidden, that is asking questions, which is quite against what the Holy Quran says. When Adam is created, what do angels do? They ask God a question. Why? For which one? So asking that question then gives you more information. Toyota Yaris, or which one? Toyota Yaris hybrid. So you got more information. Toyota Yaris hybrid, that's done less than 10,000 miles. Toyota Yaris hybrid, that's done less than 10,000 miles and has air conditioning and a sat nav. And so it goes on. But you see, God says, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. Chapter 2, verse 31. And that God taught Hazrat Adam names of everything. But I would suggest it actually means that God put in Adam the ability to be able to speak and ask questions. Because unless he could ask questions, his knowledge will not improve. You know, the example I've just given. He just said, oh, I'm going to buy a Toyota Yaris. And the person you're talking to doesn't then come back and say, which one? CHR? Yaris? Which one? You just said, I'm going to buy a Toyota. So then we give more information. And they say, oh, yes, okay, CHR. No, right, okay, that's good, nice car. Are you going to buy the electric one, the hybrid one, or the petrol one? But you see, can you see what the point is of God saying that God gave Adam the ability to speak? Because it's only by speaking and asking questions and inquiry that Adam could improve his knowledge of the universe and learn. And you see, that's the whole point, that there are two aspects that Quran refers to. This is one, giving Adam the ability to speak. Speak means not just speak, you're not talking about the Beatles or Muhammad Rafi or someone just singing something, or some politician or someone inanely speaking about something. You're talking about the ability of inquiry, speaking to get more knowledge, to improve the status, the station of the human race. But aligned with that is another thing, and that is if you gain knowledge, and if you don't preserve it, then it's going to get lost. You yourself might forget. Or if you remember, those who come after might forget. What did he really say? Was it this? Was it that? And herein lies a tragedy of what's called hikmat in Pakistan, which is traditional sort of Indian Pakistani way of treating people with traditional herbs and spices and things. And that is that those hakims would not write anything down. They would not say how they diagnosed this person had whatever it was and why they're saying that the herb XYZ can treat it. Why? Because they were afraid that one of their students or someone will learn that and then go and open a clinic opposite theirs, and they'll have competition. So they kept that knowledge to themselves. And the result was, when they died, the knowledge died with them. What does the Holy Quran say? Allama bil qalb, chapter 96, verse 4. God taught you through the use of the pen. What did He teach you? وَأُلِّمْتُمْ مَا لَمْ تَعْلَمُوا, things that you did not know. So if you don't preserve them, if you just keep them in your head, then a day is going to come when you will forget, or if you remember until you die, then certainly those who come after, or those who come after them, will certainly forget, and your knowledge will be lost. The point about these verses of the Holy Quran is that we need to apply them into our own lives and see how we can improve our lives by this. And wonder about why God did these things. Angel questions Allah. Why have you created Adam? He's going to create mischief. And we can see the mischief sons of Adam have created. We built factories which burnt coal and churned out carbon dioxide into the air, polluting the air. There was a time when in London, the government used to put out health warnings asking old people and people with asthma and so on not to go out because the air was so polluted that they would die. And when they found that out, they started cleaning up the rat and area and so on. River Thames was polluted. And for years it was so bad that, all fish, all marine life that used to live in Thames died. And it's taken some 30, 40 years for the Thames to get back to where it used to be. Now you can see with the heat waves and fires and so on that we are experiencing, that things have become warmer. So angels were correct when they said that Adam will create fitna, disruption, misuse things. But you see, we can only learn not to do that if we use our ability of inquiry and then preserving what we learn through that inquiry, so that people who come after, they don't make the same mistakes. So you might have noticed that there is an unlimited number of ways that you can look at the verses and the words of the Holy Quran, and every time you'll get a different and a new meaning and new guidance. And sadly, this is what we have forgotten and forsaken. So it is time to end our English broadcast. So I take my leave of you with the prayer that whoever you are and wherever you may be, may Allah keep the whole of humanity under His wing and free from harm and protect everyone. Assalamu alaikum, Khuda Hafiz, goodbye.